So for sure, when you receive a ticket, you can manually do things like assign a task, change the due date, define the priority based on the information you receive. So it could be an all manual process. Someone is doing it. But you can also create some rules, automations. Today, we're going to see together the ticketing use case in Asana in the context, especially of the customer support. Okay, let's go. So we have a project called Customer Support Ticketing. I wrote some notes here in the overview. Today, we're going to see some form to manage the incoming requests, some custom fields, the different saved views of the ticketing system, a nice dashboard, some automatic calculation custom fields, as well the connection with integration like Jira, and some additional rules. Let's go. So this is the ticketing project. The idea, the concept of a ticketing project in Asana is to dedicate a project to it and create a form and collect the request, the tickets via the form. And each time someone is submitting the form, it will create a dedicated task for it. And the information will be filled here. For example, type of ticket, the different tier level of clients. And inside the task, I will see the person, the submitter answers, and I can create some subtasks to manage the ticket. Eventually, I can use the comment section to discuss with the person if that person exists in Asana or with my colleagues. Let's start with the form. So to create a form, you go to customize here, top right, form, add form. In my case, it's already created. I'm going to show you the way it looks like. So this is it. It's a drag and drop system of question to the right, and you put the question in the middle. And I think we made other videos on form, so I'm not going to go too much into the details of form, but you have to understand that it's basically questions, what we call single select. So you have to choose some questions from a menu. For example, how can we help you today? And you define the type of ticket here. And here it's connected directly with the type of ticket. So the custom field in the project is automatically associated with the question in the form. And this way, each time a submitter is submitting the form, the type is automatically registered here in your project type here, for example. And the same for tier. It's also a question. So if I briefly go back to the form. So once I've created my form, ask all the questions, describe the problem. You can attach some file if you need it. Not a required question, by the way. You generate a link. That link here top right, you can click to get the link and you can share it in your ticketing process. That way, every person that is willing to open a ticket, they will fill the form. What's your name? What's your email? What's the type? What's the problem, etc. And at the moment they push submit, it will create here a ticket, a task in the Asana meaning in the project. So, and you, in your project, you receive a task and you can handle it, and then you will manually or automatically handle it, assigning someone to solve it, assigning a due date when it needs to be completed, defining the status, the progress, defining eventually the priority also based on the information you have. All of this can be then your game to solve the ticket. Let's talk about the way you arrange this project with all the answers you will receive. So one way to do it is to create section, new one, in progress, waiting, etc. But what we decided to do here is actually to base the section on some sorting configuration. Let me show you. So if I remove every filter and sort, this is what the project looks like. Okay, I'm not going to create any specific section here. What I do, I will ask Asana to base a system of section on here the ticket progress, because that makes sense for me to follow the project this way. To do that, I go in sorting, I go to ticket progress, and this way, especially if I uncheck this box here, sort within section, this way my whole project is defined based on the section. I can also add some filters to see only the incomplete task, because we will use another tab for the completed ones. I will show you in a minute. So this way, and especially if you save it, don't forget to save here top right every time you make changes with a filter or sorting. This way, my project is defined with those different sections based on the process. And if I move the status here or move the task, that's exactly the same thing. It's working the same way. You can do both. And we also use the tabs. So to use the tabs, actually, you use what we call the saved views in Asana. So that's the way you can create multiple versions here of your views and apply different filtering and sorting options. For example, if I want to recreate here completed, what I would do, I would add here a list. I would name it completed. And I would say I want the filter to be only the completed task. And the sorting could be based on the resolution or, for example, the type, the client, the ticket type here. Or it could be based on something else. And once I've done those options, I will save that view here. I can rename it and then I can move it at the right place. And this way, you can play with different tabs and have different meaning, different purpose in those different tabs. So after the custom fields we used here in terms of menu, drop-down menu, we will also use additional custom fields. Could be based on time. For example, if you want to register the time that you expect to be spending on each of the ticket and eventually the actual time you have spent on it every time once the ticket is completed. That's possible here to manually input some time, estimated or actual time. And this way do some time tracking and calculation in total, how many time you've been spending, etc. But you can also create some calculation for the time. We call it resolution time. And it's actually what we call here a formula field. That's a type of field where you can do a little calculation between multiple numbers. And here the formula is pretty basic. It's completed on minus created on. You can use those here clicking on fields. You do completed on minus created on. And this way you will create a number that is the actual resolution time between the person submitting the ticket and you solving it. And this time here is visible in that column. But it's also usable in a dashboard. And that's something you have to understand. Every custom field in the project, like the drop-down menu, but also the time, can be usable in a dashboard. This is a dashboard I've created for this project. So first, I remove every default chart and I create my own charts. So it can be a chart to see, for example, the priority level based on the number of tickets, the number of tasks based on the type of clients, ticket per type, ticket per completion status, and it can also be related to the resolution time. For example, I will say here I want some columns, or it could be also some donuts. I want to see the different client type tier, in my case, based on the resolution time and only when the ticket, for example, is completed. And this way I have a chart per type of client. What's the average? Can be average, can be total. What's the average resolution time? So you can use any type of data in your dashboard. Anything that you collect in your project can be visible here in the dashboard. It's pretty easy and straightforward to create some charts. You choose the different dimensions, X and Y, you add some filters, you choose the type of charts and you create a chart for your ticketing system. Let's now talk about the rules and automation. So for sure, when you receive a ticket, you can manually do things like assign a task, change the due date, define the priority based on the information you receive. So it could be an all manual process. Someone is doing it, but you can also create some rules, automations. You go to customize rules. And here I have a list of rules I've created. I like to number them so it's easier for us to read. So let's go together. So for example, the first one is pretty basic. It says if the task is complete or if the ticket is pushed to done, then I want also to complete the task. So this is pretty basic type of rule. And then I have a series of rules called SLA. SLA means service level agreements. That's some agreement you have with your client, sometimes based on the type of client or the level of clients, you have to answer in X number of hours or days, etc. This is handled particularly well in Asana. So for example, one of those SLA rules could be if the client said that they were tier 1, then I will have 5 days in terms of due date to complete the ticket. And the priority custom field will be low. And at the opposite, for example, if I go to my highest tier, it would be 1 day only to complete and high priority. And then you can also have a series of alerts on SLA. For example, if the ticket is business tier and the task is due today, I want to move it to very important to be sure to complete it on today. And I want to add a comment for the person completing the ticket and saying, watch out, you need to treat that urgently. It could also be overdue SLA warning. Watch out, this ticket is overdue. Please treat it urgently. And you could even tag a manager there and say, okay, manager, please have a look because we are breaking the SLA there, for example. And you can think about any other SLA rules to adapt in Asana. All right, to finish, let's briefly talk about integrations. So Asana can be receiving data from other tools, other ticketing tools, or pushing data to those tools. And to do that, you will go to Customize, Apps, Add an app, and there you have a series of native integration. For example, Zendesk is one, Jira is one. You can learn more here with some additional linking, the way it works. And once you add them to your project, you're able to make those connections with those other tools. And you can eventually also configure those tools directly in the tool. It works for Jira and Zendesk, for example. I know that Jira Cloud can be really connected. Each time a ticket is created in Jira, for example, it's pushed to Asana. The custom fields are matched, are shared between the two tools. Modification can be also synchronized. So up to you to configure the way those integration work to have your two tools talking to each other. All right, I hope it was clear. As a reminder, you can download the project to import our ticketing example here in your Asana environment and adapt it to your needs. We are i.DO, we are Asana experts and official solutions partner of Asana. So we can help you with any of your Asana project consulting, and we can also handle your Asana licenses. So if you want to order some license or upgrade your license, please come to us and we will make you benefit from the same price of Asana, of our i.DO services, customer support, etc. Thank you.